Good evening, fellow Lions, Millbrae movers and shakers. I'm so impressed with the list of people that are here tonight. I really am. My name is Frank Barbaro, Lion Frank Barbaro. I am the president of the Millbrae School District and the father of two girls who both attended Millbrae School District and Mills High School. My wife and I moved to Millbrae in 1995 because of the wonderful things we heard about the schools and the town in general. We enrolled our first child in kindergarten at Spring Valley School in the year 2000. We joined the PTA and quickly got involved in all of the school projects to support the students in their education. It was obvious parents were passionate about their commitment to students and their education. We quickly learned of the Millbrae Lions Club when they came to our school for fingerprinting day. Okay, let's move it to the next page. Then the Millbrae Lions came with their pancake truck. I was blown away by their volunteer service to the schools and the community with that pancake truck. I joined the Lions Club in 2003. As a parent volunteer in PTA, my wife and I knew we could make a difference along with other parents, and we did. We can all make a difference when we work together in collaboration. My oldest daughter just graduated from UC Santa Barbara with high honors, and my youngest is a senior at Mills. Through their educational journey, I have learned to work with many people in the Lions, Rotary, PTA, MEF, and our Millbrae community as a whole. That's why I salute all of you movers and shakers this evening by giving all of you all of your time and effort to make Millbrae a better community. Thank you for your service. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Lion Frank. Great job. All right, next up, we have Vahn Phayprasert, our Millbrae Elementary School Superintendent. And right on, come on up. And we also have Millbrae Education Foundation, MEF, President Maura. LeBaron-Hsieh. All right, come on up.
I'm not here speaking on behalf of the superintendent. I'm here speaking on behalf of the school board. I'm here speaking on behalf of our district cabinet and our district administrators because it is our story. Millbrae School District is our story. One of the things that we're charged with, and we're honored to be charged with, is that we're responsible. We're responsible to educate kids. And the kids in Millbrae become the citizens of Millbrae. We're lucky we're able to do that. We have some of the best administrators. They're all here tonight, with the exception of Kathy Dura-Reed. She wasn't feeling well tonight, and so she sends her regard. Our assistant principal, Mr. Zader, happens to be a Dodgers fan. I don't know where he was today. And then our Dean of Students, Miss Julie Fiore, who has been a teacher in the Millbrae School District for 28 years. She sends her regard as well. We have top line administrators and as well as our teachers. And so we commend them for their service and the work with the Millbrae kids. We are also charged with not only working with kids who are the highest achievers, but we are charged with struggling students. And so that's our charge. You give us that charge, and we meet those challenges. One of the goals that our board has charged me with is, Vahn, how do we break the walls? How do we change the dynamics of the school system and this organization and the city? And so I've been charged with, how do we break down those walls, and how do we change the narrative to them to just one community? We're just one community. And thank you, Lion Calvinchin. This really is a special piece for us, and coming here and being part of this community really means a lot. Those of you that don't know me, this is my 10th year in the Millbrae School District. The Millbrae School District and the Millbrae community took away my youth, my 20s. And so I stand here today because when I first started, I feel the same way. In that Millbrae School District is the best school district in the peninsula to work in and to serve. We not only have 5 California distinguished schools, but we also have a school that received the National Blue Ribbon Award, Taylor Middle School, and we have a school that received a Title I Academic Achievement Award. We also have schools, all of our schools surpass the state and county average in terms of our test scores. Why? It's because of the community, it's because of mom and dads, it's because of our teachers and our staff. In regards to making Millbrae better, when people say to me, Vaughn, if you had a magic ball, if you could have anything in the world from Millbrae, I have a lot to share. I have a lot to bring to Millbrae, and I want more for Millbrae. I do compare ourselves to 23 other school districts in our county, and when I have fellow superintendents who say, I look at your budget, I don't know how you do it. We are one of the bare bones school district. I don't know if you all know this, but you're not only looking at the superintendent of Millbrae, but you're also looking at the human resources department. You're also looking at the parent liaison department, and you're also looking at community outreach. And so that's why I thank our volunteers. I thank the folks who do what they do every single day without a paycheck. We couldn't do that without our volunteers and service organizations such as the Lions. And so when people say, what do you want from Millbrae and what can we do? How do we do this as a community? We all know, I'm not going to go into detail about the LCFF and the ADA revenue. I don't think that that is important here tonight, but I will share that what sets us apart from other school districts is that they have thriving foundations, which I'm extremely happy that Maura is standing here next to me today because she's going to give you some amazing facts in terms of why Millbrae schools are so amazing. We have grants and donations. We have folks that are in this room today that give not only monetary dollars, but support and volunteerism. I get to take a picture with Mr. Paul Larson this Friday. I don't know how, oh, it's a surprise. I take that back. And lastly, as we all know, we all know that local measures in the school district. But tonight, I celebrate all of you. I thank you for welcoming me into this community. It's been a great 9 years and 3 months, and I'm hoping to make that a little longer. But without further ado, I would love to introduce Maura LeBaron-Hsieh, who is our Millbrae Education Foundation president.
And so Vaughn said he would take up less time, and I thought, oh, good, because I have all sorts of exciting things to share. So very briefly, my name is Maura LeBaron-Hsieh. I am currently the president of the MEF board, and I filled some dainty but still very large shoes when I stepped in after Karen Batuki finished her term as MEF board president. She's here tonight, and we still work very closely together, which I'm very, very fortunate for. So I'm here tonight to give an update on the Education Foundation, our mission, our progress, and what we see as our role in helping to build a better future for the community in Millbrae. So some basics. Some basics on MEF. MEF is a 501c3 nonprofit. We're entirely volunteer run. We have some fantastic, very energetic, very smart, and very dedicated volunteers from every single campus. Every year, we are able to give just about 95% of the funds that we raise directly to Millbrae Elementary School District to fund education in our elementary and middle schools. Our funds are used to hire teachers and to pay for essential district-wide programming beyond the quality core education that's funded by the state. It's our 10-year anniversary. And if you think back 10 years and you were in the area, you know why MEF was founded. MEF was established by some of the people in this room, actually, in response to funding changes in the state of California that both centralized and drastically decreased funding to school districts from the state level. What that meant is that school districts, if they wanted to maintain the level of what we consider here locally to be more essential education than enrichment, but the state considers to be outside of the core, that each community was responsible for coming up with the funding to provide that kind of programming. So for example, music, technology, what we have in the past been calling 21st century learning, but that we're quickly rephrasing as something like science, technology, engineering, and math, STEM enrichment, STEAM enrichment, fine arts exposure. All of those things that maybe if you think back to what we all had when we were in school as young children, the picture's a little bit different now. And so MEF is here to kind of answer that, to fix that gap, to answer the need that was created when funding changed. Next. So MEF's mission is really to ensure equity and the success of our students through collaborative fundraising. So that's a lot of information, but what it really means is that we want to make sure that every single student who attends public schools in Millbrae has the chance to achieve his or her very highest potential. So we're looking at access. We are looking at the kind of programming that's available for students to partake in. We do all of this by partnering with families, with the PTAs, with the PTO that we have at Meadows now, with the school district, with some very important civic organizations who may be represented here in this room tonight, who provide unbelievable levels of support and commitment and devotion to the students in our town. And also local businesses. And what we do together as an alliance in a collaborative way is we try to generate sustainable, reliable, increasing funding so that we can give the students in Millbrae Elementary School District the successful future that we want them to have. So that's why MEF exists. Curious to see who the long roster of people is who are making this happen? Let's go to the next slide. So, until this year, we had a smaller board. We actually are very fortunate to have a very rich board. We have 9 current board members and 1 very, very helpful immediate past president who also comes to a lot of our events and weighs in with her wisdom all the time. So our current board includes parents from each of the Millbrae elementary schools as well as Taylor, all the way from TK to one of our board members whose children have moved on from the elementary school district and have moved on to college, actually have graduated from Mills. We also have a fantastic group of core volunteers who are not necessarily board members, but give enormous amounts of time to the work of the foundation. And so some of those volunteers are, for example, our 2 gala committee chairs who are here tonight, Tiffany Tyson and Natalie Yang. And we also have a liaison from each of the PTA and PTO in town to make sure that the perspectives of each campus are represented in the work that we do. And we work together. And we actually have a lot of fun doing it. So, next. Okay, so this fall we did something new. This was a little experiment on the part of MEF and the PTAs and PTO. So we worked together to put out some joint messaging. And what we wanted to do is help parents learn more about our local funding structure and show them the ways that they could increase their children's opportunities. So this graphic shows, this is using Green Hills PTA and MEF as an example, what's funded by each PTA and what's funded by MEF. So the details on each chart are different depending on which campus a parent's child attends for their school day. But I guess the takeaway from this is just how much our kids benefit from parents' involvement and support of both the PTA and the MEF at their school site. So, you know, PTA in this case is supporting field trips, some enrichment workshops, technology supplies, family events. And MEF has in the past and probably will continue to lean more heavily in support of funding salaries and funding district-wide programming that we want to make available to students on every campus. So let's drill down into what this actually means for an individual kid. Next slide. So last year, we had a huge success. We raised $408,000, which is the most we've ever raised. And it really says a lot about, thank you. It's great. And this is a community thing, right? I mean, what we saw over the course of the past couple of years is that parents and the school populations from all of the different campuses are really pulling together. We have this fantastic walkathon where all of the families from all of the schools get together at Taylor Middle School, and it's more like a block party now, perhaps, but it's a lot of fun. So we've all been having a good time. So how are we spending that money? Well, if you have a child or a grandchild in transitional kindergarten through grade 3, they have music class. They don't have it every week all year. They have it every week for part of the year. The district has been trying different models over the last several years. We give children exposure to music, enrichment, and education, and group performance. But we can't give them as much of it as we'd like to. Everybody gets a flavor, though. So they get it every week for half of the year. And they have computer class every other week over the course of the school year. And they enjoy both of them very much. In grade 4, students continue to have music and computer class, and they learn to play the recorder. So I don't know if anyone has had someone go through 4th grade recently in Millbrae schools, but the jury's still out on whether people are thankful for that or not. But it's a nice segue to 5th grade when they can start learning to play a band instrument and have the opportunity to play in the 5th grade band at their school site. And that's when we start to see group performance really start to come together. The kids have a lot of fun. They feel a lot of accomplishment. I always think the percussionists look like they might be having the most fun of all, but that gives them the opportunity then to move forward into middle school, where they continue to have tech coaching, exposure to the media lab, the ability to perform in the band, the option to learn a second instrument or learn to play stringed instruments. And we're continuing to work with Taylor and the other campuses to find out from parents and from the district what they think will really be the thing that our kids in Millbrae need the most next. One thing that we heard this year that we were able to answer with a little bit of extra funding from last year was that Taylor Middle School has a hard time making sure that all of the 6th grade students have the chance to go to outdoor ed. Which is a field trip I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with. But it really brings together a lot of the students' different learning in science, in social studies. It helps them learn to interact with peers. It's an away trip. It's one of those experiences, if you think back to going away for an overnight or a couple overnights or a week on a field trip and camping and maybe roughing it a little bit in a way that you've never had to do because you maybe have your own bathroom at home or, something like that. Some kids haven't ever gone on a trip like that because their parents don't rough it. And some kids have a hard time going on a trip like that because their parents have trouble paying the extra fee that it costs to be able to go on the field trip. So that really kind of gets to the heart of what MEF is about. We want to make sure that every student has the opportunity to reach his or her highest potential. And one part of that is to make sure that kids are able to learn to their ultimate limit, to push the kids who can do the very most, the very highest work to feel we want them to feel fulfilled as parents, and I know the district wants that too. But we don't want to leave kids unable to participate in something that's part of their public school education either, because public school is for every child who lives in our school district. So that's That's a very, very big part of what we're about. So we were able to give a little bit of extra money, and more children are able to participate in that field trip this year without feeling quite as tight a squeeze. And I'm so happy and proud to picture what it feels like for those kids and for their parents to feel that they're not missing out on the chance to do something that might change their perspective for their whole lives. So building on this, what we hear from parents, next slide, is that Millbrae students do need more than what they're currently getting. So we have music class, we have computer class, and what we really want to do is build an education for our students that answers the need that we see for them to move forward into their careers. So that means thinking more about richer science, technology, engineering, and math programming. It means giving our younger kids more exposure to PE potentially, so that when they're sitting in class, their minds are more focused on what they're learning. Social emotional learning helps our kids learn how to be good citizens in a great community like this one, where we're trying very, very hard to keep a small town feel, even though the world is busy and our kids are working hard and so are we. So the problem is that this vision is actually greater than our current funding allows. That's the hard part of it all. Everything costs money. So as we built our board for this year and we got our group of parents from all of the campuses and we sat together and we tried to come up with how are we going to try to meet the needs that we see, and furthermore to find out what the needs are, which we're engaging in with parents and staff and other groups in the community. How are we going to do this? Part of the answer is to learn about what the need is and what people want. The other part is to raise more money, frankly. And so this year, we've raised our annual fundraising goal kind of ambitiously. Last year the goal was $400,000. We raised $408,000. So we took a deep breath and we raised it by 25% and said, let's see what we can do. And when we reached out to parents, our message was, we want to have more enrichment for every Millbrae student. In order to get there, we have to have huge collaboration between the PTAs, PTO, MEF, Millbrae School District, and all of the other parts of our community. What we want to do is deliver on the kinds of things that we're hearing from parents in the school district that we really think our kids need. People have heard us. So far, we've raised more than $300,000 already this year. And that's the work of everyone in this room and a bunch of people who aren't in this room with us right now. And it says a lot about our dedication. It says a lot about hard work. I think it also says a lot about the openness and the commitment of our families and of our community as a whole. We've really, truly done this together. One interesting thing you might not know is that the PTAs and the PTO in town have also quickly reached their fundraising goals for the fall. So this isn't MEF raising all the money and the local school organizations not raising theirs. Rather, I think parents are tying into the community more. And so I think that as a group in this room and all of the many others who aren't here tonight, we have a really great opportunity right now. Millbrae is having a moment. I think that we're all interested in bringing our community together. We want to foster a small town, close-knit community, and we want our kids to be able to learn what they want to learn and have the professional successes that they need to have in order to continue enjoying small town life in this close-knit community that we all hold so dear. So here we are as a group, and in some ways it's kind of up to all of us to make it happen. But the good news is that we're going to do this the fun way, and I mean that. For the first time ever, MEF is hosting a gala. It's coming up in February. It's on February 24th, 2018. We hope that you will save the date and come out in your finest attire because we'll have a red carpet theme. We'll have dinner, we'll have dancing, we'll have a live auction, we'll have a silent auction. It's just going to be a lot of fun. And what I hear from All Corners is it's so exciting to have something where people are going to get really dressed up because that's something that we don't always get to do. So we hope that you all will join us. We'll distribute save the dates and information on ticket sales once that's available. Thank you. And I think we're taking questions for as long as we're allowed to.
Does anybody have a burning MEF question they'd like to ask? All right, let's move on. Right on. Great.